Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Congratulations, Catholic pilgrims! Today is the day that we reach the halfway point with regards to the numbers that are in the book. Number 914 is the one that does it, and that will be the last number that we read today. So, like I said yesterday, we have already reached the halfway point through the year. Today we reach the halfway point with regards to the numbers. And you may be thinking, are we off a little bit? But don't worry, because of the way that I read things in order to make it flow, it didn't align up perfectly. But we will finish on time, even if we have to read 101 day. No, I'm just kidding. But congratulations. This is a huge milestone. This is huge. I've told you this before, but I set out to read this diary last year and I couldn't do it. We were moving to Turkey. I was just kind of lost in my own thoughts and in my own world. And I was reading it and I just wasn't getting a ton out of it. And then, of course, as you know, God placed it on my heart to do this daily podcast. I thought, oh my gosh, that's a lot, but we've made it this far. I hope I'm becoming reliable to you. But yeah, it's been great. I have learned so much. I don't even know where to start. People ask me all the time, what have you learned from reading Sister Faustina? And I have like 1,000 things running through my head. But the number one thing I think I am fully getting out of this, which is exactly what Christ wanted us to get out of it, was just how merciful God is. I mean, I knew it before reading this diary, but it is without a question undeniable, the reading through this diary, how much Christ is a merciful God and how wonderful that is. So today we're going to be talking about the Trinity. And the Trinity is not an easy thing to talk about, but Sister Faustina is going to be writing about that, and it's something we need to discuss. So we are going to be reading from Notebook 2, numbers 911 through 914. On one occasion, God's presence pervaded my whole being, and my mind was mysteriously enlightened in respect to his essence. He allowed me to understand his interior life. In spirit, I saw the three divine persons, but their essence was one. He is one and one only, but in three persons. None of them is either greater or smaller. There is no difference in either beauty or sanctity, for they are one. They are absolutely one. His love transported me into this knowledge and united me with himself. When I was united to one, I was equally united to the second and to the third in such a way that when we are united with one, by that very fact, we are equally united to the two persons in the same way as with the one. Their will is one God, though in three persons. When one of the three persons communicates with the soul by the power of that one will, it finds itself united with the three persons and is inundated in the happiness flowing from the most holy Trinity, the same happiness that nourishes the saints. The same happiness that streams from the most holy Trinity makes all creation happy. From it springs that life which vivifies and bestows all life which takes its beginning from him. In these moments, my soul experienced such divine delights that I find this difficult to express. Then I heard the following words spoken thus: I want you to be my spouse. Fear pierced my soul, but I calmly continued to reflect on what sort of a spousal this could be. However, each time fear would invade my soul, a power from on high would give it grace. After all, I have taken perpetual vows, and I have taken them of my own completely free will. And so I continued to reflect on what this could mean. I sensed and came to realize that this was some special kind of grace. Whenever I think about it, I feel faint for God, but in this swooning, my mind is clear and penetrated with light. When I am united to him, I faint from an abundance of happiness, but my mind is bright and clear and free from all shadows. You abase your majesty to dwell with a poor creature. Thank you, O Lord, for this great grace that makes it possible for me to commune with you, Jesus. Your name is my delight. I have a presentiment of my beloved from afar, and my languishing soul rests in his embrace. I don't know how to live without him. I would rather be with him in afflictions and suffering than without him in the greatest heavenly delights. February 2nd, 1937. Today, from early morning, divine absorption penetrates my soul. During Mass, I thought I would see the little Jesus, as I often do. However, today, during Holy Mass, I saw the crucified Jesus. Jesus was nailed to the cross and was in great agony. His suffering pierced me, soul and body, in a manner which was invisible, but nevertheless most painful. Oh, what awesome mysteries take place during Mass! A great mystery is accomplished in the Holy Mass. With what great devotion should we listen to and take part in this death of Jesus? One day we will know what God is doing for us in each Mass and what sort of gift He is preparing in it for us. Only His divine love could permit that such a gift be provided for us. O Jesus, my Jesus, with what great pain is my soul pierced when I see this fountain of life gushing forth with such sweetness and power for each soul, while at the same time I see souls withering away and drying up through their own fault. O Jesus, grant that the power of mercy embrace these souls. So we have three major monotheistic religions in the world. That is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Now, some people who are outside of the Christian realm don't see Christianity as monotheistic because of the Trinity. And a lot of people just don't understand. Okay, you say you have three persons in one God. That just sounds like three gods to me. And I'll admit it. It is very difficult to accurately and fully explain the Trinity. There are times when, I'm teaching my kids in homeschooling and we're talking about the Trinity. There are times when God grants me this grace and I get it. I get it for a half a second, but there's this knowing that's, unexplainable. I can only say that it comes from God, but it's so fleeting. It lasts for just a minute and then it's gone. And then I'm back to, the Trinity. It is hard to explain and fully wrap our minds around. And so, it's not an easy thing to sell to a skeptical mind who's like, okay, you have three persons in one God. I don't get that. You sound like you're just worshiping several gods, but we're not. And there are three persons in one. Honestly, I think St. Patrick explained it best with his, three-leaf clover, and you can look at that and kind of get an image of what it looks like. It's not perfect, it's not complete, but it does help. I also think that a marriage or a family, the husband and the wife and the kids that come from it, from their love, is another good analogy, but it is imperfect itself. But one thing I heard somebody say a few years back, it was a non-believer. They said something like, why doesn't God just explain himself? Why doesn't he just show us himself? Why doesn't he just say, well, here I am. This is me. This is who I am. And why doesn't he just do that? And then we would all be able to believe in him. And why isn't he just simple? Why does he have to complicate it with the Trinity? And to which I said, but what kind of God would you be serving if he could just be so easily explained? A God that never challenged your mind or sent you seeking into, deep, deep thought and the wonder and the searching and the trying to understand. If it was a God like Zeus, who were like, oh yeah, he's up on Mount Olympus and he's up there with his crown and his throne and he can throw lightning rods and stuff like that, would he really be that awesome? I mean, I guess kind of. He would be like a superhuman God-like type of person, but not God. And so we have to also realize that when we're dealing with the supernatural world, it's not always going to be perfectly understood, because as humans, we live here in the material world, and we use our five senses. When we get to the things of the supernatural order, it's going to be very mysterious to us. And we're going to have to really reflect and think and pray and search and wonder and go seeking for answers. And the thing is we're never going to fully understand the Blessed Trinity. When we get to heaven, we are going to have a greater understanding than we could ever possibly have here on earth. But who can understand the mind of God? It's just not possible. St. Paul said that. Who can possibly understand the mind of God? And so to think that we can just sit here and be like, oh yeah, I can just figure this out real quick, like, I just don't think that can happen. And anybody who tells you that they can just, oh yeah, I get the Trinity, yeah, I got it, no problem. For me, I don't know if they're being completely honest, because I think every Christian wonders and ponders and grapples with the Blessed Trinity. It is a mystery of our faith, just as Christ coming into Mary's womb in the incarnation is a mystery, and just as the world coming into being from nothing, that's a mystery. And I know people are going to say, oh yeah, science will figure that out, but science isn't going to figure everything out. We need philosophy and just supernatural revelation in order to understand some things. And one thing that I've always thought is, to the naysayers who are like, okay, Christians, you're coming up with this 3 persons in one God thing, and you're trying to pass it off as a, one God. Why would Christians ever come up with something so difficult to explain if it wasn't true and if it wasn't revealed to them? Look, if I was going to start a religion, I'd come up with like a Zeus type of person, a god, something easy to explain, something that everybody can get, something that's, that you don't have to grapple with. That's what you would come up with. You wouldn't come up with the Blessed Trinity, because it is a supernatural mystery and it is sometimes hard to explain. And so if I was trying to get people into my, religion, you would want to do something that is easy to explain and easy to understand. But that's not what happened, because God revealed himself as the Blessed Trinity, 3 persons, one God. And that's what the first Christians went with. And that's what we continue to go with today, because that is what has been revealed. But honestly, for me, I kind of like the fact that God is so kind of mysterious and awesome and powerful that, he's totally above, our human minds, that we can't just sit down and quickly figure him out in, an afternoon. Because he's that great, he's that awesome, that we can spend the rest of our lives contemplating him, trying to grow in understanding and knowledge. And that just proves to me that he is God. And that is what is so amazing about our Christian faith. So that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here for day 196. And from here on out, we are on the downward slope. But until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.